Okay, welcome to Spontaneous Miracles. And today I have with me Anna Brown. Hello, Anna.
Hello, howdy. Hi.
Hi. I really like you're one of the guests I have in Spontaneous Miracles. Like I got a lot of feedback. Like you made non-duality more fun and really joyful. Like I don't know. It's been really. I'm really glad to have you here. Thank you for being here. Yes.
Yeah, it's mutual. It's a privilege. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I see. Oh, I like what I said earlier, like when I had you as a guest, like I have a very few subscribers, and when right now it's growing, it keeps growing. And what I realized was maybe I can like I what I did was I like research all like common questions asked and in satsangs or common questions, and I think I also look at my comment section in my channel and looked at what are the questions people ask, and I think I can start with that. Is that okay?
Let's do it. Let's dance, my friend.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the first question is this is from a video that we did in Nothing Media. I put a snippet in my channel, and the question is reincarnation a dream of the ego?
Is reincarnation a dream of the ego? Yeah, absolutely. And it depends on what we mean by ego. There is only the absolute. So that's the first thing to know. There is only the absolute. The absolute appearing as Leonard, the absolute appearing as Anna. But when we feel separate, that's an experience, right? We spin these ideas, fantasies of reincarnation, which is connected to time. Now, time is completely illusory. So how can reincarnation be real? It's just a story, which when one believes seems to manifest evidence like teachers and gurus and books that confirm, oh my God, reincarnation it's real. I may come back as an earthworm or an ant or an octopus or whatever it is, an asshole, whatever it is. And so we start to spin these stories and they're just beliefs. That's all they are. And what we're speaking about here with non-duality, it doesn't need beliefs. It simply is already.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned like there are stories like because there are researches about it, like this is the science of reincarnation, or like people interviewing like children who remember their past lives. And do you I think this is a common question I hear in satsangs, like because there's a proof right in front of you and it's hard to believe that it's unreal, something like that, like
Well, it's
evidences.
similar to a dream, Leonard. Let's say it's similar to a dream. So it's real and unreal simultaneously. It's a paradox. And so there can be all of that phenomenon that arises, all kinds of groovy stuff from the manifestations that seemingly having a past life or projecting into the future, spiritual experiences, all of those things. But all of those things seem to shroud one from this. It's a distraction from this. So what we call liberation is not a spiritual experience. It's not about getting anything. It's awakening, so to speak, to ordinary life without the filter of seeking the personal fulfillment. Because there is no person, there is no doer. So where would reincarnation fit into that? You know, the punishment or the good merit. It assumes there's someone in there who has choice. What we're saying here is there is no doer, there is no chooser, there is no free will. That only seems to manifest and seem very real and convincing when one is dreaming, when one feels separate. That's it. And that's not wrong. We're not saying that's wrong. It's just play.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow, yeah, thank you. Yeah, you mentioned like free will because like I've been saying what I've been saying in previous podcasts, like the biggest existential crisis I had was like making sense about there's no free will and yet it feels like there is. Like the question here is like why is free will an illusion? Like I can obviously choose if I will watch a documentary about an action movie on Netflix. I chose that. So like yeah, like the bridge between that free will there's no and there is like yeah.
It seems that way. Choice arises. We're not saying choice doesn't appear, but there's no experiencer and there's no chooser. So a thought arises, I am going to watch this documentary instead of this documentary. That's a thought arising in and as this. You didn't choose that thought. Similar to you're not choosing how to breathe right now, or your heart rate, or your hormones, nor are you choosing the weather. It's just spontaneously arising. And even neuroscience is coming in to see that, you know, the brain seemingly decides before we even have a conscious thought of, oh, choose this documentary over this documentary. It's already decided. Like right now, don't think of a white rabbit. It just arises. It's spontaneous. There is no chooser. So that means there's no blame, there's no shame, and no guilt. That's what seems to drop or dissolve in liberation. When one feels like they're choosing, now we're in the manifestation of guilt, shame, insecurity, right and wrong, good and bad, me versus you, comparison, which is really the epitome of hell. But that's the absolute appearing as that, of course.
Yes. Yeah, it's the it's the human, it's the brain's labeling of everything. Like, because like you mentioned in our previous episode, like harmony appearing as like orderly, chaos appearing as orderly, like randomness. And then like if I had an experience once, like when that was heard, and then the immediate rebuttal was, but look at how Hitler, look at how Hitler like killed a lot of people in history, and it's like this is orderly appearing as chaos. So and then the argument was like non-duality. This is another propaganda. This is another satanic pragmatism, and that was
yeah. You got to first say there's no agenda here. There's no agenda for anyone to hear this, because from this point of view, which isn't a personal point of view, there is no one. There was never a Hitler. That was the absolute appearing as Hitler. So that's why this defies all religion and spirituality. Religion and spirituality have an agenda for you to change, to do better, to seek, to achieve. Liberation is not about achievement. It's about the collapse of the one, which is just a belief that you should achieve or something to be altered. Hitler, Lisa, it is the absolute of two polarities. And as long as there is appearance of form, there will be yin and yang. There will be darkness and light, you see? But spirituality and religion want you to covet the light. You are only the light. You are only this good stuff. No, non-duality means not two. You are everything and simultaneously nothing. The mind can't do shit with this. Only the heart of what is, only beingness can hear this. That's why it's intuitive. It's not logic. Logic can fight and debate this. But what hears this, what already knows this, is like, obviously, of course, yes.
Yes, that's why, yeah, when I read comments like that, I used to like, before I used to answer it, but now I sometimes just delete it, or I just ignore it, because it's gonna be a constant mind debate, mind projection of ideas. Yes.
Right. This is just too simple because it's already what's appearing. It's appearing as this and it's appearing as that. Seemingly split as two to have a conversation or a dance. So it's very ordinary. It's very simple. Now, spirituality is the fantasy. Religion is a fantasy, and it's always over there. And once I get this question answered, or once I know this, then I'm going to be okay. You know what I mean? And this is not about knowing more. It's a collapse into a mystery, which is already the case.
Yeah. Speaking of collapse, like another theme that I see is this, like I feel jealous at the ones who already had this so-called shift or dropping, or like it seems like I'm waiting for years and no shift is happening. Like like there's no, I'm getting glimpses of what you're saying, but that's common of among the ones I see in the comments or in satsangs, like when is this gonna happen? Do I need to watch more non-duality videos? Do I need to meditate more? Do I need to like I know there's no process, but people usually always ask that, like like I'm not getting it. I get it mentally, but I don't there I something like that, you know.
Well, think about it. In the realm of human consciousness, there's a reward system. If you watch more videos, if you meditate long enough, if you fast, if you become a vegan, you will be rewarded. And that's not what we're speaking about here. That's the mind. It has a rift. Let's look at the brain. There's a rift. There's a line in between the two hemispheres. It's always going to operate in a kind of, oh, I do this, now I'll get that, a reward system. We're speaking that this is already the reward manifesting as that. It's just a misunderstanding. Seeking this is a misunderstanding. It's a belief system. We're taught separation. You see, we're taught to go out there and find it. We're not taught that this is already paradise, that this is already the garden. So liberation is just waking to see that this is already a lucid dream, but no one is dreaming. So yeah, the mind won't get this. And I got to confirm this didn't reach anything. It's not an achievement. It's a dropping of the idea you call you, because that's all you are, so to speak. The one that's chasing its own tail is just a belief. It's an idea. It's already sitting on the chair. It's breathing, it's eating, it's sweeping, it's folding laundry. Everything that appears is it. That's why you can't escape it. But when we have these ideas of, I should be grateful all the time, or I should be in bliss all the time, or I should be more compassionate, we're living through a story. The absolute can appear as anger, frustration, sadness, compassion. You know, it can appear as anything, because it's not just boxed into a certain quality. You see what I mean by that? It's everything. So anything can appear, anything can arise, pain or pleasure. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, the idea that some spirituality is that the enlightenment is everything is already peace and bliss. Like
Oh
everything
God,
is
so
already.
boring though. I mean, isn't that so boring? Isn't it so hard to be good? I mean, that's religion. That's their agenda. Be better, be good, walk like this, talk like this, dress like this, eat like this, shit like this. I mean, it's a rule book. It's dogma. What we're speaking about is beyond all of these ideas. How you are now is already perfection. It's already harmony. So why would you need to change? Why would you need to alter anything? Only an idea says that. So what?
Yes.
So what? Yeah.
I see. Like, I think the arguments that people like do with it is like I think another theme that I when I was listening to it before was the law of karma or cause and effect. Like people like justice. Like it, so if everything is there's no doer, so it means the bad people doing bad things are also the beloved. So it's kind of like the me story of I want justice, I want this, or something like that. Like I think that is another thing that I have heard in some songs. Like so, like I think that's connected to Hitler because so there's no doer. So why is it happening? Why is evil happening? Something like that.
It's not happening. It's not happening. Nothing is happening. And you can hear that both ways. Nothing is happening. Nothing is appearing to happen, like a dream at night. This is no more real than the dream at night, so to speak. This is manifesting. This is seeming to arise. Now the story of seeking is, I'm trying to figure out the past about this guy named Hitler, or I'm projecting into the future of what's going to happen tomorrow. There is no tomorrow and there is no yesterday. Cause and effect is not real. Similar to when you wake up from a nightmare, a dream at night. Cause and effect seem to arise. Not real though. Seems to be. So we're not denying that there's not an apparent cause and effect. Or that there's not assholes that don't appear, or there's not friction or war, or saying that, yes, both sides, what we're calling evil and good, yes, it is the absolute. But when we define what is bad and what is good, we're going into person. Because let's be honest, if we ask a vegan, eating just plants is what's good. Eating meat is bad. You ask a carnivore what is good. Eating meat is good. Just eating plants is bad. You get what I'm saying? So now we're going into a personal perception. What we're speaking about here is totally impersonal. The mind can't fantasize this. It can't even imagine what we're speaking about because it's already this. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to get, and there's no you to get it. There's literally no you who has ever made any choice, ever. All choice is illusory.
Yes. That's actually the most freeing. The most freeing. That was because when I had COVID, like everything arose, everything like fear, the difficulty in breathing, all of it. But the fact that there's no one doing it's the most freeing, because the guiltlessness, and that is when all my anger, like it like surfaced, because there's no more story of I'm a bad person because of this anger. It's like a volcano that erupted.
Right. Like, come on, like volcanoes erupt, there's tsunamis and hurricanes, and that's like a manifestation of natural anger, so to speak. But if we're on a path, it's like, I can't be angry. That means I'm not there yet. And that's not natural. That's called constipation. So what we're speaking about really is just organic authenticity, which anger can arise, frustration can arise, anything can arise. That's the freedom.
And even like, I think in one of your songs, it's like you said, if one feels separate, sometimes the wisest thing to do is go to healing. If healing trauma, it still can happen. Like if anything can still happen, because it, like, this is not a substitute to anything. It's all included. Because some people would think that, non-duality is the higher than spirituality or self-help, but it's not it. Like, it's also self-help, and it's all inclusive.
Well, it is all inclusive because it's everything. But I will say the ideas of spirituality totally collapse. At least they collapsed here, because spirituality is about you and then spirit outside of oneself. There is only spirit already. So all the tools that you're using to tinker with yourself, not you, I'm just speaking as a generalization, they collapse because it's seen you're already perfect. You don't need to meditate away your ego. There is no ego. There's only the absolute appearing as you, with all your quirks and your personality traits and frustrations. So it's the end of manipulation. It's the end of trying to get rid of things within you, so to speak. But there can be totally going to the doctor, or going to a yoga class, or talking to a friend about, some ideas about moving, or what's the best recipe for this or something. Oh my God, yes, it's completely ordinary. So yeah, but as long as there's a sense of separation, it totally makes sense to go to therapy. It makes sense to meditate. It makes sense to do those things, because it makes the illusory prison cell more comfortable. But once it's seen there's no prison or prisoner, those things start to dwindle and soften, either drastically and very quickly, or it can seem like it's unfolding and slowly falling away over time, which I know, let's put that in like some quotations, because time's not real. It appears that way. Evolution appears to arise. Change seems to arise, but it's a circle. It's not actually going anywhere. Yeah.
It's all gonna crumble. Like, to me, it's also a slow, tedious, very, very, like, I went to like you, like Catholic religion and New Age spirituality, and it was the most difficult, then, because like, people, like, I can talk to the dead, and then I can, like, I'm seeing ghosts, and I'm developing my psychic powers, and it's all
third eye's turned on, man. Third eye's turned on.
Yes. I think I asked you that question already. Like I think that's one of the things that entices the mind. It even plant medicine for me, like, oh, this is it. This is what they're talking about. This is already it. But when the plant medicine wore off, the effect was gone, and I was looking for it again. So, that's not it.
Right. I mean, plant medicine may arise, drinking wine may arise, eating pizza may arise, but as long as there's a sense of separation, it's looking for an experience. And what we're speaking about isn't an experience. So that's why it's very hard to understand, and actually can't be understood, because we're not speaking about a personal experience. Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't happen to anybody. Yeah.
It's right. Mm-hmm. Like another question I usually get, I hear is like, if let's say, of course, Leonard is a character. If Leonard didn't, let's say, awaken, I think this is connected to reincarnation. Will it play the seeking game in the next life? That's the question. Like that's a spirituality of like, if you don't get, if you don't, yeah, like that. It's that
I
question.
get you. Yeah, you can either die within the body or you die with the body, so to speak. But you end up right where you are, which is liberation. So the body dies, but you're immortal. So the birth certificate and the tombstone isn't where you end. That's where the character seemingly ends. But there is only liberation. There is already only liberation. So that's why no one wakes up. Nobody's actually asleep. That's a story. So how do you wake up? That's why it's so hard. Wake up. What are you talking about? You're already awake. You're already awake. Oneness is already awake. Oneness is already confident, alive, and knows this. Now, what seems to shroud this is beliefs of time. Oh, but so-and-so said this. And what about death? This is death. Death and life are like this. It's with every breath. It's like, that's this already. But I get what you're saying. To a system, it seems like, oh, I'm going to chug through time. I'll die. And then something's after that. After that, what's next? What's next is what seems to dissolve into just ordinariness, into just whatever is arising here. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Chocolate
there's an
carried water.
idea of
Yeah.
there's an idea of all the near-death experiences stories of in the after on the other side of the veil. There's like, because I've heard a lot. I've heard too much of it. Like they would like, you will meet your family over there, or you will meet the source, God, or you will. There are psychic attack. There are there are malevolent souls.
Leonard. Yeah, we've heard it all, and it's just fantasy, and it's a distraction from this. It's a total distraction from the aliveness that is this, because you end up exactly where you are without the dynamics of seeking in time. Time is not real. So it's just a form of seeking, whether it's seeking, talking to your grandma on the other side, or seeking a new Ferrari. It's still a sense of I am separate. And if I do see Nana on the other side, I will be totally complete. It's not real. The completeness is appearing as this. The completeness is appearing as this. This is infinity appearing finite already. This is the source. This is the source. This is the source. So how do we get closer?
Yes. Yeah, it's like I was about to ask like what, because but when you ask like how did it happen to you, the mind listening to this that will like interpret, oh, so that happened to her, so that should happen to me, but nothing needs to happen.
And nothing is happening, and nothing happened to me. There isn't a me already. That's why it can't die. Separation doesn't exist. That's why you can't end it. But the appearance in the play of Twoness totally still appears. It's appearing right now. So things appear to be getting done. There is no doer in this conversation, Leonard. It's absolutely spontaneous. The one who asks the question is the one who answers. Sometimes oneness wants to speak about itself. Sometimes it wants to get drunk. Sometimes it wants to dance. Sometimes it wants to paint its face. This is just what's seeming to appear here. Oneness speaking about itself and to itself. Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
It's dynamic. It's like snowflakes, like you said. It's all myriad of expression wanting to appear differently, like
and that's what's so beautiful about this. And it's finally the character is celebrated and not denied, because this is fleeting. This will not appear forever. You see, the character is not lasting. And so it's like a carpe diem. It's like with all of the idiosyncrasies and the character traits that you think are a flaw are finally celebrated, because it's the absolute appearing as that. Right? Just like the maple tree is fully the maple tree. Even if there's some dead limbs hanging on there, it's fully itself, and it doesn't fucking care if you resonate with it. You see what I'm saying? Because it doesn't know another. It it's in harmony, it's in oneness. Now, of course, Leonard, there are preferences that arise. The character will have preferences, just like a koala has a preference to, eat leaves or whatever it does. There's preferences innate into a character. That's called nature. That's natural. So the idea of all of us being the same and statuesque and whatever, it's just a story. It's just an idea. So yeah.
Yes. like when you say it's just a story, like, because that's also a question I see, like, what does that really mean when you say it's just a story? Like a thought, or
well this is all a mystery. We don't know what this is, but we can go, this is Anna, and she's a female, she's white, and whatever, we'll start projecting the mind if it's arising, which there really is no mind. It's just thought forms floating by like weather patterns. But it'll seem to put a shroud on this, thinking it knows what all of this is. It actually doesn't know. No one knows what this is. But as long as we think we know, oh, I'm speaking to her, these are walls and all of that, we're living in this like concept prison. So yeah, concepts lose their meaning. Beliefs everything loses its meaning. There is no meaning to anything inherently.
That's what scares the me. Because when it hears there's no purpose, there's no meaning, all the conditioned ideas about purpose and meaning is threatened. It's stunned to the idea that this is a mystery. This is innocence. All innocent.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I get it. And despair arose here. There's all kinds of things that seem to arise. Now, it depends on the character. For some beings, they don't have despair that arises. It's kind of like a gentle sliding into this. You know what I mean? So there's not a one size fits all for this. We're talking about, spontaneous freedom. It can appear anyway as what we would call the manifestation of Eckhart Tolle, Leonard, gurus with funny hats. It's all wild. It's all oneness appearing as those things. But the teachers collapse, the gurus collapse, the tools, all those things collapse into just this. And maybe practicing yoga goes on or something, right? Or Tai Chi or whatever the character likes, or exercise. The idea that will fulfill you and bring you liberation or enlightenment totally just collapses. Everything is already liberation. So drinking coffee and doing yoga are equal. It's all divinity. Yeah.
The natural liking of the natural love for life, like it's
totally,
or death, or all of it included.
Yeah. I mean, there can be things that you dislike. I mean, totally, that's natural though. You know what I mean? You don't see lions hanging out with lambs.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And there's not like ants crawling all over bunnies and they're hanging out singing Kumbaya. So I mean, there's like you know what I mean? There's that sense of boundary, and there's things that seem to get along or not get along. But isn't that already what's appearing? Yeah. So what seems to drop is the guilt, shame, and insecurity of, we should all be friends. Why don't I like them? If I was enlightened, I would like everybody. No, that's a fantasy. Yeah.
It's the natural decisions or choices without the backstory or the story.
Totally.
Because I noticed that here, like it was just recent. Like there was an I don't give a fuckness to what's happening. Like
man.
Like a friend, like go like, when you I had a friend who like said, I think we should meet something. And then all of a sudden there was no communication. I feel like the conditioning was me. I was so worried. What did I do wrong? Why she said she wanted? I feel like there's this chatter, but the chatter is there, but there's no chatter behind the chatter. It's just there. It's natural.
It's allowed to be, and it floats away, kind of a thing. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, it can seem like what we call neurosis can take time to kind of spin out of the nervous system quickly. Like, so I say it can seem like it drops quickly, or seems to unwind through apparent time. That's what arose here, right? So we're speaking of liberation. So anything can appear in it, even what we call neurotic energy. Liberation, freedom. Yeah, it's just the stickiness of it. The ownership is gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like when I was asked like the last week, like, did when did the shift happen to you? What I said was, I don't care when it happened. I don't know if it happened. I don't care if it will happen, and I'm not worried if it will happen. I'm just
Nobody
content
wrote
with
it in the
what is.
diary, right? Yeah. No one wrote it down on the diary or on the calendar. At this time on the 15th, this is what happened. No, there was no one left to report it. It's yeah. So it's so ordinary, but the ordinary is now extraordinary. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's always this. Yeah.
Yes. It's like, I just think that it's like resistance and neurosis kept quiet. And
Mm.
even non-resistance
Mhm.
is even resistance is welcomed
Yeah.
if resistance happens, because
Yeah.
I.
Yeah. Resistance, tension, stress, whatever is appearing. Yeah. We're speaking of life. All kinds of things can appear. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. It's like, because like what I said before, when I was in a period of confusion because it's too much information, and then
Yeah.
your video popped in my YouTube feed, and the title is "This is the end of the road message," and I was like, I didn't make that happen. Life just did that. Life did it by itself.
Yeah.
Life
Yeah.
showed that to me when I was confused. Life is taking care of itself in that way.
Always. Yeah. Life supports life, I like to say, but life also eats life, like the Ouroboros that eats its own tail, the snake that eats its own tail. So, yeah, but you are life. So, the devourment and what we call rebirths and changes, all of that seems to arise. But that's what I mean by light and dark, or creation and destruction. You are all. So, all of that can appear totally. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
It is. It is. It feels like the term, like the feeling of separation, is also the appearance of that. and and what I realized was, if I fought during that time, like, there was nothing I did. Everything just happened, even the feeling of separateness. And that's
Yeah.
why there's nothing wrong with it, right? Like, if you feel
No.
like seeking, even if the seeking is also okay, it doesn't
Yeah,
mean.
it just obviously doesn't feel okay, right? It's very
Yeah, yeah.
uncomfortable to seek that which already is. Totally. Yeah. But yeah, there is no difference. There is only the absolute. So what we call our minds can have an idea of, oh, life will be so much better if I get what Anna has or Leonard has or who knew whatever has. It's not about a better anything. We're speaking about what simply is, which
Mm,
could be challenging or unchallenging. It's just seeing there's no doer, there's no central experiencer. And so there's not the neurosis of time connected to everything. The woe is me, the victim consciousness is totally gone.
mm.
Totally. Yeah. So it's just, but yeah, anything can appear, challenges, pain, pleasures. Yeah. But again, that's already what's appearing.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. And yes,
Mhm.
anything. It's like one of my friends before told me, like, this is just for the rich people or the privileged, because if you're
What?
yeah,
The
no,
rich, the
I
rich
think that's
people, like
also
as
not.
in money, like is that what they
Yeah,
mean? Oh,
she
oh
said, like,
dear. Oh
because
dear.
if you're poor, like, you will not worry about existential stuff. You will
Oh,
worry
that's
about.
absolute bullshit, because some of the poorest beings with absolute horrid circumstances have recognized the simplicity. And I am by no means wealthy from a material standpoint. So that's just more fabrication of mind, more distractions. That's nonsense. This has nothing to do with wealth or health or the circumstances that are arising. You could have cancer in the body arising, and it's there, because it has nothing to do with the body vehicle or your job or your role, you see, or how much is in the bank account. Oh, come on.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Come
No,
on.
that's exactly what I said. Like, that's bullshit, because I live in a third world country, and I see people who doesn't have the money, and yet they embrace the ordinary, even if like the
Yeah.
quote, like, some people are poor, all they have is money.
No, true. Yeah. So true, man. That's yeah. I've heard that in a song somewhere. Yeah. It's a good one. Yeah.
Because it's not about that. It's just,
No,
it's really
Jesus,
a
no.
mental projection of an idea.
More money than I could become enlightened. That just doesn't make any sense. That's folklore, more myth. Yeah. Which distracts one from the simplicity of this. It's as easy as breath. It's already breath. So, and that's inclusive to all, is it not?
Yeah.
Everyone has breath if they're in the flesh, so to speak. So that's why this message is of inclusion, not exclusivity. That would be religion and spirituality. You see, everyone already is this. And that's why I'm not special and I'm not a teacher and I'm not a guru. I'm only holding up a mirror, confirming and celebrating that which already is. And you don't have it. So it's not about having something. That's because if I have something, I can lose it. It can be taken away from me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything. No. Mm-mm. Yeah. And that's the joy. Yeah.
Yes, you said the costless joy. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Totally,
You
man.
mentioned like religion and spirituality. Like I used to like put people on pedestal. I used to put people on, they know, like, how did you like, when, I don't know, how did you like break free from it? To me, like, I just saw how ridiculous, I just saw, like, because the seeking energy was so strong. I look at how different people are speaking this one, charging this much for us, for this, for you to achieve this. And then I just saw like, this is too busy. This is too like another this is to another like work, do the work so you can become worthy of something. So it doesn't have a difference to a
Spiritual
corporate ladder.
gymnastics. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how did you like break free from that?
I didn't break free from anything. Again, it isn't about a personal experience or of breaking free. It's seeing that you were never bound. No one's bound. So when the sense of separation dissolves, so does the putting beings on pedestals. It all together, all of it goes together, all of it. Whether it's like drastically or seems like pieces are falling away. Like it's not as sticky. It's not as sticky anymore. But this didn't do anything. It's just when no one sees this, when no one hears this, it can't be taken, like the old life, so to speak, cannot be taken seriously. That's why this should be rated R. You should put rated R next to this podcast, because liberation is not what you think it is. It is not what you think it is, because it has nothing to do with thought. So that's the good news. It has nothing to do with you either, because the sense of you, which is a fantasy and imagination of just beliefs, and so to speak, it's about, I'm going to get this. It's going to happen. It's going to be an event and everything's going to change and be so much better, and depends on who you ask. Some say, wow, now I'm as miserable as ever, right? For some, it's the opposite. Oh, there's joy, whatever. But it's ordinary. It's already what's appearing, which could be poverty or wealth or illness or health. But beingness is beyond all of those things. It just can appear as that, these circumstances. It's not bound to them, though. That's what I mean by you're already free and you're awake. The one who hears this. It's a knowing without knowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the mind will just create a story about what it hears. It will project all the things that you're saying. Like when it hears "know me," it will look for the "know me" experience.
No, you're right. You're right. And that's just what's happening. No one's choosing to do that. It's kind of like, it's just, it's turning it into a new mantra. It's turning it into like, does this mean there's no me now? Maybe. I can still feel it. What, you know what I mean? It's like pushing into this, and however you're sitting and looking and breathing, and whether it's a hot mess or you're really put together, like it's all incognito already. So that's why there can't be like a poster child of enlightenment. Oh, well, I don't have a turban or mala beads, or I don't look like Anna. I don't talk to her. It's like, come on. It's appearing as the diversity. And that's what I mean. It's a relaxation into the natural character, which could be maybe kind of assholey, sarcastic, real funny, real quiet, and like a wallflower. But what drops is the guilt, shame, and insecurity.
Hmm. That's actually the key word. That's the closest thing. Although, like what you have always said, no word can encompass this, but there's a
Nah.
natural relaxation to whatever's appearing because anything like frustration, like there's frustration, but there's like a subtle relaxation to it. Like there's no more trying to get rid of it, or even if there's getting rid of it, there's also
I get
relaxation.
what you're saying. And I also get, if there isn't a human ear listening to this, they're going to be like, well, I'm not relaxed when there's frustration, so I'm not there yet. Or I'm not like really relaxed in my body when there's anger. No, that's not what we're saying. Relaxation can appear. What we're saying is the ideas that anger or frustration shouldn't be there don't appear, because that's intention. Speaking of a collapse of an altar, so and maybe last much longer than when there was a belief system of there shouldn't be anger there, right? Because like you were saying, we were talking about a volcano. It's just allowed to erupt now, right? Ooh, destroy, whatever. It can come through, and no one's shoving it down or going, I'm cool. I'm cool. No, it's allowed to be, just like weather, but it moves through much quickly. You know what I mean? Unlike the neurotic being, okay, which is still the absolute, just appearing as neurosis. You see, if there's a sense of a person, they spin stories. Why did I do that? Why was I angry? Do I have karma? Sin? Does my inner child need some love? You know, we start to add on these filters and stories instead of it just being raw, alive energy. It's just raw, alive energy. That's all it is. Yay.
It is. It's all allowed. I usually like hear like people saying this is spiritual bypassing. I would say like this is natural allowing of everything. And when there's no story, like what I said earlier, it was recently that a lot of anger, suppressed anger, just bursted because there's no more like policeman trying to, I'm gonna caught you
with the stop sign and the go, come. Oh, nope, not you, you're evil. No, you come. You're right, that collapses.
Oh, that's freedom, ordinariness of it.
Oh my God, that's what I mean. It's like, it's not what you think it is. That's why this should be rated R. It's not what you think it is. And how do you know you even want it? You see, because with spirituality and religion, it's all hope for the better tomorrow, saving the planet, blah, blah, whatever it is, you know, it's never this. It's never this. Yeah. It's this plus some over there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's always the next thing, the next experience,
yeah,
the next teacher.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And no one here is trying to change that. You know what I mean? That too is harmony appearing as that. Yeah. So this is seen, it's already all the absolute, seeking or not.
Yeah, there's no authority. This is just freedom doing its doing it.
Yeah, just doing its thing. One is doing its thing. One is Leonarding, one is Anna-ing, one is walling, bambooing. Yay. Yeah. Already. Yeah.
That's why I find it funny when people would say like these people are possessed by the demons because they're talking about purposelessness. I was like, how do you know that? But I understand it because I also had this ideas before about demonic possession, exorcism, or all of that. Although it's all valid because
thank you, Catholicism. Thanks. Sorry. But no, it's just belief systems. And when one truly believes like there's demons, you can find evidence in your reality. Someone believes they're unworthy. Ooh, there's evidence everywhere. Did that billboard literally just say I'm gross? I think it did. I totally think it did. Like you start to see things that confirm your belief system. Yeah. That's why if Christian mystics, oh, I spoke to Jesus last night. You talk to a Hindu, I saw Krishna in my room, right? It's all hologram. So it can seem to fulfill that. Same with astrology or whatever the belief is. You know what I mean? It all just seems to, all of that collapses into this beautiful simplicity. It's a mystery. It's an innocence. Yeah. No need for religion. No need for beliefs. We're just being life. But old beliefs can appear. They're just not interesting. Mm-hmm.
It's just enjoyed as it is. It's just the arising, and it's just enjoyed, because I used to like say before, like I still sometimes go to like watch some new age stuff, but there's just like, it's all entertainment. Like everything, even there's no more like, I think I need, this is something that will complete this. It was just, even non-duality, sometimes I still watch, but it becomes music. It becomes like listening to Spotify music.
No, totally. Yeah, I get you.
Mm-hmm. Because this is the most resonant to me. It's like what this is like the beyond worthiness and unworthiness, because spirituality and religion is sold into like, there's always something to do. There's always something to get.
Yeah. And there's always something wrong with you, right? Whether it's your thoughts or your emotions or whatever. Yeah, there's always something to alter. It's utter maintenance. Yeah. We're speaking about something that's effortless, but can appear as effort. But in that effort, there's an ease, there's an effortlessness in it. It's hard to explain. It really is. Yeah. Because there's no longer the added filter of, did I do that right? I could have been better. Oh, come on. There's no YouTube to do better. There's only the absolute stuttering, the absolute accidentally spitting or tripping or being graceful and easeful with their speech, whatever it is.
Yeah. The non-doership of it.
Yeah.
Because like earlier you said I had before this Zoom, I had plans. I had different this is how it will go, but things went differently, and there's really no
like
one
I
doing.
shared, like I said, we can make our plans. Not going to happen that way. Because it's all spontaneous. All of it is, and we'll come to find out if there's a list of questions. It's like, it just starts to become more like a raw dance. It's like what's that stuff? Like the spontaneous dancing. You just turn on the music and you're just moving your body, and some of them you're like, whoa, what's that about? I don't know what they're doing, but hey, they're having a great time. That's what this is. There's no right or wrong moves. There's no right or wrong words. There's no right or wrong way to be. So we can't mess this up. There isn't a we to mess it up. So hot dog.
I used to be frightened with that message before. I was like, this is free fall. So and then I used to watch documentaries before, right? So I was like, what I watched before was like those people who were incarcerated, mistaken. That was mistaken. They were not the one who did the crime. So I was like, oh, this is random. So this can also happen. I feel like, or somebody can just fire a gun to me and I can just die. I feel like this is scary. but when when there's really no one doing it, I don't know. There's nothing. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how to say it, but
I totally get you. I totally get you. But it's all in immediacy, so we can just see everything like an immediacy. Now, when there's a sense of separation, there's a projection and a fantasy of, oh, I may get shot tomorrow. I should wear a bulletproof vest everywhere I go now, right? There's like a projection into the future, which creates anxiety. That collapses. Now, if you are at the store and someone pulls out a gun, there may be a, taking them down and putting them in a choke lock and calling 911. Yeah, why can't that arise? That's an immediacy to what is. It's not sitting on the couch fantasizing about going to the grocery store and getting shot. It's what's arising. It's an immediacy. You see, but in spirituality and religion, it's like, let's not have anything ever bad arise. Let's control everything. No, you're right. We're speaking about life, which could mean you get punched in the face and maybe you fight back. Maybe you don't. I can't say. I know this would fight back for sure.
Yeah, and that's also perfect. If it finds
Yeah,
it's not for you.
that's what's arising. There's no beliefs of just take me, just pummel me, because I don't want bad karma. All of that goes, what I mean? There can still be the survival mechanism of the body that's still totally there. The body wants to survive and thrive. That's natural, right? Totally
Mhm.
natural. Look at plants. They bend towards the light, and that kind of stuff. It's only natural.
Yes, and they also like wither, they die, and then
Totally.
they have no story about it. It's just
Right, right. And we're not saying that there won't be mourning either. If there anything can arise, there can be mourning. All of that can arise because that's a natural emotion. So I'd like to say natural emotions still arise. What seems to drop is like OCD, anxiety, intense depression. All of those things seem to soften and dwindle. But there can be sadness and gladness and frustration, anger. Those are natural emotions. Yeah.
yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
Totally.
I like the
We're
word
not
soften.
statues. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the word
Mhm.
soften because that's what
Yeah.
happened here. Softening
Yeah.
gradually.
Yeah.
It's not like Eckhart Tolle who just sat in the ocean and I'm one with the waves. My process was a lot more different, but it's all
Yeah.
perfect.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Wait, there's not a poster child for this, but the mind will put Eckhart Tolle on a platter and be like, well, it didn't happen like that, so I'm screwed. No, come on. It's not a one size fits all. It's spontaneous. And here it was a gradualness, from a very young age, so to speak. Now that's a story, of course, but it's, for Eckhart Tolle, it was like spontaneous in bed one night kind of thing. He wasn't meditating. It just spontaneously arose. So yeah. Mhm.
Because it also, like what you said, it's one size fits all. It means it doesn't no but there's no I cannot word it like some people would really say like if it doesn't happen it doesn't matter because nothing's happening. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter if it happens or not, or because it's all equal, it's all neutral.
Mhm.
Because people will look for the liberation experience, but the looking for it is 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 the trap because there's no looking for it.
I mean, it's already what's looking.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah. But what we call our mind can't do shit with that again. Yeah,
Mm.
this is it. Oh yeah, totally, it is. But it's it goes into buttsville, and that's okay. It's just and that rose here too. There can be questions and beliefs and all these types of things that seem to bring up despair and hopelessness. Yeah, it is hopeless. It's totally hopeless. Time's not real, so you can't get closer to this. It's already what's manifesting. It's already what's appearing as this.
Mm.
Yeah.
And when the mind hears the word hopeless, it has a
Mm-hmm.
different interpretation of hopelessness. It feels like, oh, this is negative, this is
Mm-hmm.
depressing,
Mm-hmm.
this message is annihilating. But it's really hopeless in a way that there's no hope because this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just imagine if there's a seeing, because there is a seeing, it's just impersonal. And there's no longer these ideas and insecurities and fantasies that seem to arise and shroud the immediacy of speaking to Leonard or having a cup of coffee or eating a pear. It's the immediacy of eating the pear, the immediacy of drinking the coffee. And maybe thoughts float by. Sure. Maybe there's little imaginations. It's just, there's like when there's a person, so to speak, it's that it gets taken over very quickly. Let's live up in the attic. Let's project onto everything. But every cup of coffee is the new cup of coffee. Every morning, so to speak, you're born again. Like it's constant rebirth. It's not stagnant like we think it is. It's not concrete like we think it is. Liquid love, I like to call it. It's very malleable, pliable.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
Mm-hmm.
rebirth, always like constantly
Mm-hmm.
rebirthing to new. It's always new.
It's
Always
like
new.
breath, just like breath. You know what I mean? In and out, like an accordion, in and out, constantly refreshed. And without breath, though, I mean, you can't catch breath. You can't hold breath. You can't take a picture of breath. But my Lord, it's animating these characters right now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Hmm.
mhm.
And a lot of things have been That's nice. A lot of things have
Mm,
been made in the idea that about breathing techniques. This is the breath of a lot of, but in the
mhm,
simplicity of it, there's just breath. There's just
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, it's this. Yeah.
It seems like in here, like it got tired of all the seeking. It got exhausted. It got exhausted in all the avenues it went, and then it just collapsed to the simplicity. But there's no
Yeah.
regret with all of that happened because it was just an impersonal movement of of life. It just
Well, it seemed to
happened.
be a dream too. So it's like recalling the past. I mean, you can recall everything. This is not about like having dementia or Alzheimer's or something. It's like recalling a dream. Like it doesn't have that solidity to it. The past has no solidity. So it's like recalling a story or something like that. But yeah, it just doesn't have the anchor to it, if you will.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have like the hook to this is so important.
Yeah.
It happened to me at
Right.
this specific time.
hmm hmm Exactly. Yeah.
This is beautiful. I
hmm
didn't. This is really full. Like nobody really. There's because naturally because I was diagnosed before with OCD. And
Yeah.
it immediately neurosis just happened. So, but now it's just I feel like it's a gradual quieting, and
Yeah.
it's just quieting, and it's just allowing anything. Like I said, I was planning on how this interview or this podcast would happen, but it just enjoyed the spontaneity.
It's totally off the cuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no,
And
thank you
that's the
so
fun of it though. Yeah, that's the
much.
fun of it too, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no plans
Yeah.
because planning is allowed, but
Oh,
I
totally. Yeah.
it,
Yeah. But
it
something like this, yeah, yeah, I get you. Yeah. It's just, the snow globe gets shaken. Woo. We'll just, yeah. Yeah. Because we don't know what life needs to hear. We can write those things down, but it's like it's just so alive, and the questions just come out of nowhere. And then the answers are nowhere. I mean, it's all no one speaking to itself. That's the mystery of all of this. It's quite interesting and beautiful. But yeah, that's what I mean by we're dancing.
Mhm. That's
Mm-hmm.
why the listening to this is not meant to grasp it mentally. You can just let it flow, and it will just do its
Like
own.
music, like you said. Yeah, like music. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. I just felt like I can explain it. Just like the
Yeah.
background, I can say this is the light or the universe, but this is just magnificent wonder of it. Wonderfully
Yeah.
happy.
It's yeah. Yeah. Absolutely everything. It's pretty groovy. Yeah. Just not for anybody. Yeah.
That's why when a listener to this would hear like everything appear, nothing appearing as everything, you don't need to
Mhm.
grasp it mentally because mentally it's all what we learn in school or what we learn from science or the universe. But when you really listen to everything as nothing, it's already that. No need to like
Yeah. Yeah.
no need grasping it or
Yeah.
listening over and
Because
over.
what you already knows, what you are is already awake. Who you think you are is what's asleep. That's why it has nothing to do with thought or contemplation or
Mm.
beliefs. Yeah. And that's why this is heard when it's heard. It's like a dagger or like a lightning bolt. Whoa. Oh my God. Yeah. There's like an obviousness that can arise. Oh, yeah. Of course. Of course. This is home. Yeah. Yeah. But like you're sharing, there can seem to be kind of like things that seem to take time to fall away. Yeah. Why not?
Mm.
Yeah.
And yeah, and when people say like non-duality is a belief, it's a projection of it's a projection. Non-duality is a belief. That statement itself is an idea. But
Right. Now, I can say that now, if there's separation, it can only try to turn this into a belief, right? Like you were saying earlier, it's only going to try to turn this into an experience, or whatever it is until that just fizzles out. and then it's literally not worth mentioning. It's just like there's no one left to report it. Like when there's a path of spirituality, let's report this experience and this, and they're so cool, let's talk about it all the time. It's like there's no one left to report anything, because the one who's doing all the reporting and investigating and seeking can't be found, and no one cares to go look for them.
Yes.
So yeah, you feel me, man. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like there's no more word left to say because this is already the
Yeah.
emptiness in its fullness.
Yeah, man, totally.
It is.
And that just can't be taught. Yeah, it's just heard when it's heard, it's seen when it's seen by no one. Yeah.
Yeah, what really helped me was, but I really didn't do it. There's just an arising that there's nothing I can do about this. There's nothing
Yeah.
the person can do to get to liberation. And I was just like, it just all did its own thing.
Yeah. Well, and we can also say that liberation appears as a person.
Ah, that's better.
Yeah. So there is only liberation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like it when you always say there's
Paradox.
nothing,
Yeah.
there's
Go
nothing
ahead.
there's nothing I can like give you that you don't have yet, because what's here
Yeah.
is already there. That's always in
Yeah.
your meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And the here and the there collapse too, because here is there and there is here. You're right. Absolutely. All comparison drops. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you being here.
Oh, yeah. It's an absolute joy, man. Absolute joy.
Yeah,
So thank you.
Yeah, I want to ask like how people, if they want to talk to you one on one or attend your Sunday Zooms, maybe you can invite them here.
Yeah. So Patreon is where we do the Zooms, the Sanghas, and you can find that on my website, which is wonderfullynothing.com, or under any YouTube video. So if you go under any YouTube video, you'll see a link to Patreon. And right now, my private sessions are closed down on that website. But if you send me an email at anna@wonderfullynothing.com, we can arrange something. So yeah, that's how you can get a hold of me, friends.
Oh. Oh, thank you so much, Anna. This is really wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.